Hello everyone, I am Pupunoob and joining me today is Sarah. Hello
Hi
Sarah.
guys. Hello.
And we're gonna be doing a review for Mass Effect Andromeda. Bling
Dun
bling
dun
bling 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 bling.
dun. Jazz
So,
hands.
Sarah,
Yes.
why is Mass Effect Andromeda a better game than Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Well, first of all, I played one.
Why
of
is
those.
it a 7.1, which automatically makes it better than Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Ouch! Ouch.
Okay, so
That's the question.
Mass Effect Andromeda, it's one of the games that we've been waiting for so long. We both love the Mass Effect series. What were your expectations going into it? What were you
To be
expecting?
honest, I don't think I knew what I was expecting because I when I first was announced, I was so tentatively excited because the ending of Mass Effect 3 left me with a lot of mixed emotions. So when I first heard about Mass Effect Andromeda and what they were planning to do, I was extremely excited because I was like, good, we're going
New
to
galaxy.
a different galaxy. Good,
Right.
good. I'm happy about this. I think I even made a joke about after Mass Effect 3 was done that like they need to go to a different galaxy now because they're done. Like they can't keep going with this storyline. So I think for me it was definitely like new galaxy, new issues, and I don't know. I think it was. I'm not even sure how much the exploration aspect I even expected. I think for me it was just like a different storyline and just something new and alien and weird that I have to rediscover like I did with the original series.
Yeah,
So,
I wasn't sure what I was expecting too. I just know that I was hoping for, I guess, a cleaner slate because of the new galaxy, but it does have the very tropey Mass Effect thing where this galaxy has an alien race, this ancient race that probably like was God and created everything, which is what the Reapers were. They were the ancient race for the Milky Way, right? So it felt a little bit to me like the Force Awakens.
interesting.
It's new, but we've seen this before, sort of,
Right. Okay.
because the Force Awakens had a Death Star. Basically,
that's
right? It's
yeah.
basically Empire Strikes Back.
What's with Star Wars and the Death Star redoing it over and over
Right.
again? But
I'm
that's
pretty
a
sure the
different
next
story.
one will be the rebuilding of a Death Star, which is a bigger one or something, whatever.
Probably, exactly. Death
But-
solar system.
So the both of us played Mass Effect. I played majority of the Mass Effect Andromeda game before the patch that fixed all the animations and shit. And you played quite a bit of it, like maybe 10, 15 hours or something, right?
Yeah, I played probably like 10-ish hours of it before the patch, yeah.
Was the animations very jarring to you? Was it immersion breaking?
So you need to understand that for me, like, you have to really, I think, be really bad for me to... I mean, I think anything can break my immersion, but for me to actually
more forgiving?
care... Yeah, I'm extremely forgiving, but for me, Addison was the one that made me go,
That's
"Oh,
the worst
really,
one.
guys?"
Yeah,
That was
right.
just it became like a laughing stock, and it was especially it's become I think a
The
meme now.
makeup
where
also looks really weird.
the makeup in this game is very bizarre, and I don't understand why. Because
It was like a guy that did all the makeup for the
I feel like
characters.
it was because they gave pretty much the only person who had, in my opinion, realistic makeup was Cora, and I feel like what happened there is they had a female designer who went, okay, this is how she's probably going to wear her makeup because it looked the most like what you would probably see in a person. Everyone else had like blue eyeshadow, and let me tell
Right.
you, that's
and
like
really
the
pink
1980s.
and really pink cheeks.
Yeah, and it's like we don't, and it was especially that part was especially weird to me because, and I'm very conscious of this as a woman looking at media, and one of my things that I always find hilarious is trying to figure out which like TV shows you can obviously see because everyone wears makeup in TV, right? Guys and girls, everybody does. But it's really funny to see who like has the obvious makeup, but it's always the females. Like my favorite is looking at the early Walking Dead episodes and being like, yeah, you obviously have eyeliner, but it's the apocalypse. Why would you have eyeliner? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so in this case, it's the same thing. I'm like, why would they have makeup on? Like,
Yeah.
why? So that was, I understand why they added makeup, but yeah, no, the makeup is definitely weird.
It wasn't that big of a deal. It definitely broke immersion a bit, but it was just like added entertainment for me. I wasn't like hating it because of it.
Same. It's just like, okay, really, guys? Blue
Gave me a few
eyeshadow.
chuckles, but And then sometimes when you're talking, and then some motherfucker will just walk right in front of you, like, dude, we're talking here. Like, can you chill?
Yeah, I'm walking here.
So, just in general, what did you think of the game? What do you think of it?
I really enjoy this game. Like, I think I enjoy this more than most people do. And I think the main reason is because you have to understand, I'm a very character-driven kind of person with my stories. For those who play D&D, I am the type of player who's really interested in my character's story arc and within the game. And so for me, I did get invested in the characters. I think some people may have felt like they didn't, and I really did feel invested with the characters. I mean, I kind of felt like I could take any of these characters out to lunch. I really did feel that way. Like, I would love to see these characters and take them out for lunch and talk to them personally.
Right.
And I just felt like even though they still had some tropes to them, there were still some differences. They were still pretty tropey, but there were still some interesting differences that they played with that I enjoyed. And also Ryder's character, I felt like I really liked the fact that Ryder wasn't Shepard. I really liked that. I liked the fact that your dad is basically Shepard. But he's dead.
Your dad is Shepard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that Cora Ryder, because Cora was supposed. Cora was supposed to be the one that took over, right? Because she was like second in command or whatever, and she was like, she was probably thinking like this was some kind of like, oh, you only got it because you're the kid or something like that.
Yeah. I loved Cora's character. I loved the complexity of her, where it's like, I just feel like people don't trust me or they keep abandoning me kind of thing. And I haven't finished her mission, so I don't know the full story on things. But like, I love talking to her just because like that antagonism, but like her line of, I don't want a rival, I want answers. Like, I think that's just really poignant for her. So like, there's that aspect. And I felt like this whole game kind of ran on this whole idea of, all of the Shepards are dead, because think about how like in the Nexus, like the what's her name, the person who was like the leader, like that started the initiative, who died or whatever, and that's like
right. Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but the 8th in command, Tan, is the one in charge. Like, they don't know, he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, you're Ryder, you don't know what you're doing. And so I loved the idea that this was so all the charismatic leaders are gone, so who's left? And so I just loved how awkward Ryder was. I think a lot of people maybe didn't, and I loved that. I loved that growth of, like, the team trying to come together. And so that's, I think, why I like this game a lot. And some of the other things I'm way more forgiving on than I think some people are.
I feel that the game was just saying like, okay, this is what the game is, but when I play it, it wasn't really. So my biggest gripe with it is the exploration aspect of it, because you're in a new galaxy, you're supposed to explore, you're supposed to find your new home, you're supposed to find resources, you're supposed to find this and that. I wasn't expecting it to be a survival game. I just wanted it to be the unknown. I want to see, like, I guess something like Zelda Breath of the Wild, because people were talking about it, because neither of us played it, but what people were saying was like, oh, that's a pretty cool thing, let's go over there. That kind of feeling, like Skyrim has that. Yes. Guild Wars 2 has that, gave that for me as well. So something like that, where I just want to be compelled to not follow the path, but I wasn't compelled. I was just too quest following, and I guess some of that is my fault. But the thing is, there isn't anything to find. Is the thing. So I feel like the developers are just saying this game is about exploration, but when you play it, it's not really. Like, the exploration is a dot on the map for you to go to.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of was, so for me, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of haters for this, but I felt like I was playing Mass Effect 1 again when I was playing this game, for good and bad reasons. A lot of people share that sentiment. Yeah, for both good and bad. And I think, like, that's one of the reasons for me I'm more forgiving, because in Mass Effect 1, that was a similar issue. Like, you're exploring things that you as a person don't understand, even though you as Shepard do, but you as a person don't understand. But it was still very much like, go to this plot point, go to this point, you know?
Right.
And it was very, like, similar and stuff like that. I think this game did a better job of, like, more diverse areas than Mass Effect 1 did. But, I mean, I would hope they did. So that's not really much of an improvement. But, you know, so I kind of had that feeling where I was like, I think I was more willing to explore, because I was like, oh, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
get it. Like, especially since a lot of the missions are, I mean, I haven't finished the game, but the missions are very similar. It's like, you're going to this planet, you gotta go to the monoliths, you gotta go to the vaults, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
so I get that.
There's this one guy to beat, and like, and the missions are so nicely organized. I like that because
Yes, I do too.
I'm just too, like, if I see too many things without organization, I'm like, oh fuck, which one should I do first? But this one is
I
like,
know.
oh, this is a priority ops. This is for your allies and relationships. This is
Yes.
a specific thing to do for this planet, kind of thing. And I really like that.
Yes,
I
thank
think
you.
I think the way they organized the quest was really good, and but it formulaic. The game was very formulaic. You go to this planet, you, like you said, find the monoliths, you find the vault, you do all that thing, you meet the ancient race, you do the quest that's on the planet, and sometimes you don't even need to finish the quest on the planet. It's not even close. You actually don't need to do most of it.
Yeah.
You can just do the main quest, and it's just so formulaic. I mean, the last planet that had this same formula, I was just like, I'm not gonna do the side quest. It's just too much. I'm not gonna do that because I basically 100% all the other planets, and I got tired really fast.
Yeah.
Because of that.
I can understand that. So, because I think for me, what's too bad is I think they, in my opinion, trying to differentiate themselves from typical Mass Effect. I think a bit more in like the characterization of your main character, and that aspect was, I think they did in my opinion, a decent job of like making it different than like how Shepard was. But I'm not sure if they kind of were able to quite get the exploration aspect that they were hoping for, and so it did, in my opinion, feel sometimes like Mass Effect 1 for both good and bad reasons. For those reasons like you described, because that was also an issue of Mass Effect 1 too.
Right. The combat was good.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, the combat feels good, although I am still super salty that you cannot control your party's actions. I am still super salty about that.
Because Mass Effect is a game about combos.
Yes. And, I mean, you can still do combos. I'm also really weird that you only get 3 powers. I think I'm so used to being I'm usually the Sentinel in the games. Like in 2 and 3, I was the Sentinel, and so I'm used to having, like, 4 powers at my disposal and being able to be like... And you can't really do that as easily in this game, but they have the profiles instead, and I'm having a lot of fun with the profiles.
Yeah. Nearer to the end of the game, I found myself using the profiles more, but I went through the game, like, I would say 90% of the time I didn't use the profiles. And the biggest reason why they gave you the ability to switch profiles, and meaning switching the sets of your powers and all that, is because you can't control your squad mates, which is annoying.
Yes, no, I recognize that too. I've been using the profiles all the time, but it's just because I just kind of like changing things around and such like that. I think the only problem for me in the fighting with this game is the cooldown times are not as quick as you could make cooldown times in like number 3, and like because in number 3 you can make your cooldown times ridiculous, and you can't do that as easily in this game. And for me, it's a little harder because I'm like, I can't use overload again. Why can't I use overload again? And, which is too bad. Also, they took out warp. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That was a weird decision, because there's armored creatures, and I don't understand why that was. But that's okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, combat feels pretty good.
I think it's also because they want you to switch.
I guess,
it's just another thing they want you to switch.
I guess they didn't want you to have the kind of broken combo I had, where it was like you have warp and overload.
Right.
And it's a great combination, but nobody wants that. But no, I'm enjoying the profile system. I switch all the time, just because it's just kind of fun to. It's also, I love seeing all the different the classes or the roles, I think, and how they're different. I really like the way that they changed them up, and each one's kind of got their own little different unique power and way of jumping and stuff. That's really cool.
So, were you okay with the cover system? It took me a while to get used to the automatic cover system.
It's still getting me some time. I'm not a huge fan of it, because there are times where I'm like, get into cover, why aren't you getting into cover? But at the end of the day, I'll probably become more used to it. It kind of reminded me how Mass Effect 3, you like were just jumping all the time, and that took me some time to get used to, and then I finally did, and so I'll get used to this too. I I'm always like the kind of person that's like, I don't want automatic anything. I want total control. But at the same time, it usually ends up being better if it's automatic in some cases because of how the game is structured, as long as it's not buggy.
Right.
And so far, it's been doing okay. It's just kind of sucky because I'm like trying to run to cover and I feel like I'm not... You can't slide to cover. I think you could do that on number 3 where like you could like slide to cover and you can't do that as easily in this game. So that's too bad, but otherwise it works.
Yeah. I quite like the different planets actually looks really different.
Yes, I very much appreciate that. I haven't been to all the
It's
planets,
very cliche, sort of. It's very
Yeah.
is the usual. Oh, this is ice planet. This is the desert planet, but it looks good.
But they made it look good. You know, even the desert planet, it looks good. And it's my brother and I were making fun of the fact that the desert planet is the first planet you go on because it makes sense technically, but it also is like they maybe should have started you in like Havarl where it's like more interesting looking, with a jungle like planet. But
Right.
at the same time, I mean, it looks good. Yeah, the planets look freaking great.
The environments look really great. It's just the character models look kind of funky.
Yeah, character models are kind of funky. Also, the female hairstyles, for once, are better than the male hairstyles. That
Is
never
it?
happens. I think so, yeah. I think the male hairstyles look really dorky, and not all the female hairstyles look good, but they look... I would say more of them look better than the male hairstyles, in my opinion, which, like, never happens.
Right. So what are your... would you recommend this game?
I would recommend it to certain people, is the problem. I think for people who
Do you think
really...
this game is worth $60?
I mean, with the amount of content I'm probably gonna get out of it, probably. For certain people, it may not be. If they really... I would say if you're only gonna do... I say this about everything. If you're only gonna do the main quests, I mean, it's probably not worth $60, but... For me, the amount of content and hours I know I'm going to put into it, it's probably worth it comparatively to other games that I have been willing to pay $60 for. Doesn't mean I would have not taken a deal out of it, though. It's really hard for me to say what's worth $60 though anymore, because I think $60 is too much for any game. Like, even like the longest Final Fantasy games, I think it's too much for. So, it's a hard question for me to answer, admittedly.
Yeah. It is subjective, because I feel the game is closer to 45 than 60 because while there is content, is very repeated.
Yeah, I think in general 45 and 50 is just a reasonable price in general. So let me put it this way. As far as the idea of would you pay the average price of a game for this game? Yes, I think it's worth that. Do you think it's worth $60? No, 9 times out of 10 I don't think anything's worth $60. So I think that's kind of the best way for me to describe it personally.
Who would you recommend it to? Mass Effect fans for sure. I mean,
oh, definitely.
right?
Yeah, I think you should.
guess.
I think someone who's only played Mass Effect 1 and was not interested in the other games, I think would probably enjoy this game more than those who played the other ones. I think I don't think there's many of these people out there, but I think it'd be really interesting to find people who only played Mass Effect 1 have played this game. I think
because there's a parallel.
Yes,
between
there's
the two
parallels
games.
to it.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it to people who like only played, like they started at 2 and like went to 2 to 3. I would not recommend to those people. And I would recommend to people who are kind of like me, who are really invested in like character development and stuff like that. Not saying the character development's perfect, but for someone like me, I love analyzing those things. And I like... I don't know. I kind of like the way that they set up Ryder this time. It's not just Paragon and Renegade. It's different than that. I really liked that. I like that system. People who aren't like looking for super like big, you know, it's people who aren't looking for like big morality choices, I think would like this game more than people who adore morality choices.
we totally didn't talk about the dialogue system. I felt the dialogue system was a bit... I don't want to say this, but your choices almost don't matter.
So
I hate using that line because it's just so is beaten to death, right?
Oh,
and
definitely.
Because it's a very clear like, so this quest will take you. You have to do this and do this, but all the decisions you make in the middle don't really matter. It's just the one at the end, and there's really few of those. There's there's very few like minor differences. Like even the first biggest choice, which is the
Science
you,
versus military.
yeah, you choose your outpost, which is, do you want to focus on science or military? They make it seem like a big thing. I finished the game. I didn't see anything that was like playing back to that. So it was just kind of weird.
So I kind of disagree, but a little bit differently. I think the thing is that for me, again, the reason I bring up Mass Effect 1 is because in Mass Effect 1, there were tons of little decisions that you made that didn't really end up mattering in the end, like in the Citadel, like lots of different morality choices. And so for me, I see it differently because, again, this is why I say it's very character driven. I saw the choices mattering for Ryder and mattering for like how people kind of even, because they had, you know, I mean, it was very minor, but like people talked about it, like your choices and stuff like that, and what that, and how people reacted to that. And so I saw that, and I saw it as like it affected how you created Ryder and the kind of person they were. And that part I liked a lot. I liked how it shaped Ryder. So no, it didn't necessarily make it that like you could just destroy the planets, and it didn't make it that you could save all the planets. That's true. None of the choices you can make as Ryder are going to destroy anything. It's going to just be, it's all going to end up okay. But I felt like the choices did shape how your Ryder thought and acted in certain situations and stuff like that. And so those to me mattered a lot. And I think that's why I see it differently. So no, there's not really any good like big world expansing changes. That's true. But I do think it affected just little things like what did you prioritize and how does it affect other things that you do. And it's not perfect like with the character interactions, but I did see some like changes and little bits of like, you know, how they reacted. So for instance, the one, there's a side mission on the Nexus where you're dealing with a protest. And depending on what you chose, either research or military, they're still going to be mad, but that they're going to be mad because of that, you know?
Right.
And so it's interesting.
I think to me, it just felt a bit jarring that none of my choices mattered. And why do I need to make a big choice now? You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like out of place a little bit.
Yeah. I can see that. I think it's also just weird in general because the Mass Effect series usually is bigger choices, and this one I don't think had as many of that kind of stuff, which I didn't mind, but it can be jarring. But the military and the research one is one of the ones that did surprise me a little bit, but I kind of liked it because in the end, like, either should be able to work for you, but I get it.
I did appreciate that it wasn't a Paragon Renegade system anymore.
I loved that. I was actually really pleased that they did do that. Not that I liked that for Shepard. I think that worked for Shepard. I did not think that system worked here or for Ryder.
It's basically just what they did with Knights of the Old Republic, basically.
Yeah, basically.
It made sense there because light side, dark side. It was a very the Star Wars universe. It makes sense in that, but it was just like, so how are we gonna do this, guys? Paragon Renegade, fuck it.
Right. What I love, but although there's one thing, I talked about this with my brother, I want to just mention real quick about the choice system, non-Renegade Paragon, that I loved. So kind of a joke I talked with my brother and I about is how the choices aren't color-coded. You don't know which is the right choice.
Right.
So there's so many little decisions, and yeah, they don't make huge matters, but they still, you know, we talked about, like, for how it matters. But even though, like, at that moment, like, because there are little choices that you make, like, in the Nexus that are really difficult choices. And at the end of the day, are they really going to make a big difference? No. But in that moment, you're in that moment of panic because it's this big to me, it was like this big morality choice. And it's like, what do I pick? And it's not color-coded, so you don't know which one to pick. And that moment I loved. So maybe in the grand scheme of things, it may not make a difference, but it was worth it for that moment of gameplay of panic.
I did have a few trouble times where I just did not know what to choose. Yeah. But the one thing that I was really pissed off about the dialogue system is, can you say what is written there? Like, I was thinking you're gonna say that, but you kinda didn't. Although sort of kinda did.
Yeah, some of them have been a little bit weird. So most of them I've been a bit more forgiving of. Some of the ones where, like, you're the casual, it's like they take it almost the casual too far, and I think it's really funny how, like, you just make a fool of yourself sometimes. But I've been personally able to read it okay, but that's just a hallmark of Mass Effect series or the new BioWare games in general.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. So you already said that you were recommended to certain people. People maybe just played Mass Effect 1, and like, I think I would recommend it. It's a good game. It's a good game. It's not as horrible as a lot of people put it out to be.
No, I don't think so.
Did you feel it was dumbed down from the previous games?
I didn't feel
it wasn't
that
really,
way.
right? Because the previous games was very cover shooter-esque.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dying in parts of this game, so no, I don't feel like it's dumbed down at all. I felt Mass Effect 3 was actually the easiest game.
Did you feel the RPG elements was dumbed down?
I don't think so, personally. I think they just made it. No, I really don't. I think it's not. No, if you're gonna say they're dumbed down, then you're only comparing it to number 1. I feel like it's slightly more complex than 2 or 3. Personally, you have to choose between multiple classes and a lot of powers. And 2 and 3, you only you picked which powers you were going to have in the beginning, and that's it. No, screw you. Who say that?
I was it's kind of weird that your companions have so little powers to choose from.
That is very strange to me, yes.
I reached level 53. I pretty much maxed out everything for the companions.
Yes.
And the thing is, the game lets you level up to 80, which is kind of pointless.
Yes, I do. The companions don't have as many powers, which is very strange to me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like,
I would recommend it, but I think most people should wait for at least a 25% sale.
Oh yeah, I would wait for it.
Which is usually like the first time it goes on sale. It's like within that 25 to 33% range, right?
Yeah.
I think that first sale, and I think it's a really good game for you to get into the Mass Effect universe. I think it's a good first game for a Mass Effect game.
I could see it. I almost think it's better if you play it after number 1, personally. Just because you get more background on certain things. Because they don't, go into... Unless you're willing to kind of peruse the codex for a while. Just because there's certain things that they touch on, but I think might be kind of confusing. But
there is some lore to that, yeah.
There is some lore that you may not quite understand, but at the same time, they still have Ryder ask the stupid questions. What are Solarians? So when they do explain the Krogan Solarian thing, and so it's there. I just think you get more out of it if you play number 1, because they do some callbacks a little bit to only number 1, because that's the only one they can do callbacks to, which is kind of funny. Like Saren's mentioned, and you know that Saren attacked the Citadel with the Gath. That's all you know, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think if this is your first game though, then it's probably fine. You probably can figure it out.
So, but I'm not sure if diehards will love it or not.
Like I said,
I mean, obviously, whatever we say won't really change what they are gonna, but I do think it's a game that people should give a chance, because it was written off before it arrived.
Yes, I definitely think you should give this game a chance. I think personally, it's better than a lot of reviewers are making it out to me personally.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't do scores when we review shit, so fuck it. 7.1 out of 10, better than Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's a 7.1 out of 10. Beautiful. So yeah, this has been a review of Mass Effect Andromeda. If you want to check out Sarah's channel, all the descriptions is in the links below. All the links is in the description below. What the fuck? Okay, so everything is down there. Just scroll down a little bit. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and listening. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.